And therefore, we have organized this match between DeepSeek and the champion. Okay, so Abensu is going to be playing the white pieces against DeepSeek. And it will enable you to be able to look at the moves closer. We have Boris Chen here, who is a current student of St. Joseph's College. Boris, say hi. Yep. And also Ms. Zhao Xinxin from China. So they will be moving the pieces for this board so you can see it clearer. All right? So also we want to thank all our sponsors, the organizing committee, the school, especially Voti AI for enabling this to be possible. All right? Thank you very much. So now, without further ado, let the game begin. Okay? Typical open Sicilian. It's one of the most popular openings in chess. It's an open Sicilian, so both sides trying to attack the center. Very classical. This is called the Pelican variation or Schwenznikov, made popular by world #1 Magnus Carlsen in his match against Caruana in 2018. So the basics, black has 2 bishops, one has white bishop, 1 bishop, and typically, usually, in 65% of the cases, bishop's better than knight, slightly better. But then, you look at black structure, there are 2 F pawns, double pawns. So, it's a give and take process, like many things in chess. White has the better structure, black has the 2 bishops. White castled just now, put his king into safety. Black is doing the same. So do a simple count of the center. Black has the D pawn, E pawn, F pawns. So more pawns in the center. And black can eventually try to push them, to push away white's pieces. And also to note that the D pawn is backward, right? There's no other pawn supporting it. And it's on an open file. So it's susceptible to white trying to attack along the D file. Okay, it's a struggle ahead. Interesting game. Right. Black tuck away the king to h8. Usually people do that in order to secure the king, put it in the corner, less susceptible to checks and attacks. Also, black tuck away the rook from a8 to b8. So that's clearing out the long diagonal in case white has any discovered attack using the bishop on g2. White is trying to chip away at the black pawns on a6 and b5. Trying to open up because his rook is already on a1. So it's trying to use that to his advantage. Black gives up the bishop pair. Black gives up the bishop pair, taking on d5. Now he's trying to decide which piece to take with, the bishop or the queen. Black seems to be very materialistic. He's trying to, whatever way he takes back with, he's going to move the knight to e7 and then take on a4 and then take on b2. So he took with the bishop. I'm expecting knight e7. And then taking on a4. Knight e7, yes. White took the pawn on b5 first, trying to get something. Because now there's still a backward a pawn that the rook is attacking from white. Black is attacking the bishop on d5 twice, and also the pawn on b2 once. He has to do something about that bishop. He goes back. Now black is biting on that b2 pawn. White is marking, yes, so black did take that b2 pawn. White takes back the a6 pawn. Now, like I said before, the d pawn is exposed. White is attacking that twice. Black needs to do something about that d6 pawn, which DeepSeek pushes one square forward. So now that pawn cannot be taken by white because it's defended twice by the queen on d8 and the knight on e7. It's attacking that 3 times. So now the honor is on black. Will black be pushing that d pawn forward? Oh no, blocking. Okay. Which is actually interesting move because now the c3 pawn is exposed by the long diagonal bishop on g7. White's bishop is on g2, but it's blocked by black's pawns. But the black bishop now has an open diagonal attacking c3. At this moment in time, I would say that DeepSeek is having the initiative in this game. All right? White is on the defensive. Okay, so white has decided to defend by tactical means. Okay, so if the bishop, okay, so the bishop didn't take on c3, queen c8. That's right. If the bishop were to take on c3, white would probably go rook h6 to get some attack on h7. So DeepSeek didn't buy that. Just kept attacking c3 pawn. Now he's adding the queen to attack c3. Black keeps the initiative. White is keeping his play as active as possible by, okay. So now DeepSeek decides to retreat the rook and blocking the attack from the white rook on a7. Very, very solid play by DeepSeek. It's not giving any inroads to white. White is defending very actively. So the black pawn mask, like I said, is impeding the activity of the white pieces. But he's trying to attack them. They're all in the white squares. He has a white square bishop, so he's attacking f5. And DeepSeek again defends f5 and renewed more attack on c3. The c3 pawn is very weak. White is trying very hard to generate threats, active threats to defend. But it's not easy. This position is, again, black keeps the initiative at this moment. White puts the rook on a1, open file, trying to come in at a7. DeepSeek took it.
c3 finally. White is now a pawn down. He must generate threats. Yes, so expected rook a7. This is the climax of the game. We're coming to the climax of this game. Would DeepSeek be able to consolidate the 1 pawn advantage, or is White able to generate enough threats to compensate for the loss of a pawn? White decides to go for it. He took the knight, okay, in order to break up that pawn mass. But it's not for free, because the rook is more valuable than the knight. But he needs to try something. He needs to try. Bishop d4. White was trying to checkmate on h7 by attacking it twice. So black has to move the bishop. The queen is now protecting h7. DeepSeek forces the exchange of the queens. DeepSeek has a material advantage now, small material advantage. We call it half a pawn. Okay, so if you count the count, White has a knight and a pawn versus DeepSeek's rook. Okay, so usually a knight and 2 pawns would be equivalent to a rook. So half a pawn to a pawn advantage. But there are not many pieces left. So if White manages to exchange both pawns, then White, in most cases, should be able to draw. DeepSeek moved the pawn to h5. White cannot take on h5 because the bishop will be hanging. So therefore, he protects the pawn on g4 with the pawn from h2 to h3. Okay, so DeepSeek didn't take the pawn. Okay? The reason why DeepSeek did not take on g4 is because, like I said, the more pawn you exchange, the more likely White can draw. Therefore, DeepSeek didn't take on g4, put the pawn on h4. Now DeepSeek is firmly on the attack. You can't take the pawn on e3 because bishop takes e3 and bishop takes f4, game over. That's the decision the champ has taken, right? Trying to block that f pawn. He will take that h4 pawn, which he just did. He's trying to block. Okay? If, let's say the king is somewhere else on h2, then black can just go and f1 queen, becomes a queen, then black will win. Okay, so he has to do everything to stop the pawn from going one square forward, the black pawn, to become a queen. This position is not easy for white. Only black can win. It's either black wins or black draws. White cannot win this. Well, for a machine, human being, anything can happen, right? It will be a long, long grind ahead. Okay? Because white can only defend here. Black is probing here. Black is attacking the g4 pawn, probing for weakness. The f2 pawn cannot be taken. That's the crown jewel of black's position. And white has to guard against that pawn. So black is trying to probe that g pawn and the h pawn. White defends that g4 pawn, the knight moving back to h2. And just locking that f1 square. Best square for the bishop guards both f1 and g4. White is very happy with the bishop on e2. So he returns there. He's trying to invite a threefold. Rook e4, rook d3, rook b4 against bishop e2. Rook b2. Okay. Not yet, so it's blocking. The machine trying to put more pressure on. Advancing his army. The king is going to go to f4. And then the rook goes to b3, and then to g3. That's the plan of the machine. White checks the king has to move to f4. That's the ideal square for the king. White has to do something here. If it doesn't do anything, black is going to squeeze, keep squeezing. The king is getting really close, going to take the g4 pawn. So he pushes it forward by one square. Now trying to go to g3. Keep blocking. Trying to block. Ooh. Okay, so let's see. So now white has the 2 pawns. He will try to advance them as much as possible. In order, if white trades the 2 pawns for black's 1 pawn, white will manage a draw. And no. And it doesn't seem that white is able to do that. And eventually, white will run out of moves. Right? Because if he plays g6, he resigns. DeepSeek wins. It's okay. He tried. He really tried. Yeah. He came really close for a draw. So, yeah, it's a lot of effort. He played 14 games, and now he has to play DeepSeek. So, yeah. What are your thoughts?
It was really hard. It plays like 2700, I guess. I'm trying to make threatens bad. He cut them off right at the beginning.
Like I said, he's very solid. Like he really tried to generate threats, but he just kills it. DeepSeek just kills it. Nullify all the threats and then go for the offense. Very professional. He said 2700. That's a super grandmaster level. Okay, top 20 in the world level. All right. So, anyway, all right, great. You're still our champ, okay? So, thank you. Thank you very much. We can make our way to the final part of the event, the prize giving. All right? Thank you.